loved ones. It's halfway past June, and the monsoons are here in Bombay. And in some parts of the world and in India, the lockdown has been put back into effect. And I hope you're all taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. So today we are going to chat with a very interesting young guy from Pondicherry. He's a composer, he's a sound engineer, he's a music producer, and he's now in Chennai. His name is Jerry Silvester Vincent, and we'll be talking to him about his journey and his growing up years. So we'll wait for him to come back and join us. I think Jerry is online. So guys, we are going to invite him in. Mr. Jerry, how are you? Okay, so guys, we are here with Mr. Jerry Silvester Vincent. Let's have a quick catch up on Jerry is from Pondicherry.
Yes.
Right, Jerry? And I believe you were at the Aurobindo Center for Education.
Yeah.
And you graduated with physics. My God. So just quickly for everybody, what was it like in Aurobindo and in Pondicherry doing physics?
So we had a very unique school where we didn't have exams. And
I love it. Everybody's going to love that one.
and not only that, we had a system called free progress.
Okay.
And
Right.
our school was French medium, so we studied subjects in French.
Wow.
And the free progress system, what we could do is we could choose the subjects we wanted to study and under which teacher we wanted to study.
Oh, you have a choice.
Yeah, we have a choice.
Wow.
So like for English, we would have 5 teachers. So you could choose to study under any of the teachers. So it was like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. What else?
So it was progress at your own speed, and
Right.
and sports was compulsory. We had to do sports every day. So
that's
it
good.
was like, yeah, and music also was music extracurricular activities were compulsory. So that's how I started doing music. Yeah.
Okay, so that got you into music while doing the extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but what in your house, people were listening to music? Were you exposed to music in your house, or how was it?
I have an older brother. He doesn't listen to anything other than Western classical music.
Okay. All right.
So he exposed me to classical music very early on.
Very early on. Okay.
So, and my dad got us a CD player very, very early on, 93, 94, Sony.
Okay.
So we got to listen to good quality music very early on.
Okay, so see, that's something I'm discovering while talking to other people on this show, that a huge influence of who they are now has come from the music that they listened to when they were growing up. And you were saying the same thing all over again, that a huge part of your training in and wanting to do work in classical orchestral scores comes from your exposure to what your brother and your father played in your growing up years, right?
Correct, yes.
People who are listening in and who have kids, guys, expose them to as much music and good quality music and audio fidelity that you can right now, because that's going to shape them up into who they become. So now you finish your physics, my God, and then you do piano and composition at the same time. And at which point you decided, I want to make a career out of this?
So it was after college. I had no clue what I wanted to do after college, after doing my physics. And my brother was studying photography in Ooty. So he said, why don't you come over here and just spend 2 months and just decide what you want to do. So I went, I stayed with him in Ooty. And then he had a Mac. I didn't have a Mac till then. So while waiting for him when he used to go to college, I used to fool around in GarageBand. That's when I realized perhaps this is what I want to do. Music with technology, composing. That's what I want to do. So
So
that's what
that
my main.
exposed you. Your exposure to Apple Macintosh with GarageBand kind of gave you an idea of combining the music that you knew and technology together. So that's what
Correct.
happened for you.
Correct.
Okay,
Because before that, composition was on score paper. My composition teacher used to
right.
make me do composition on score. Yeah.
So do you still do that? You still score on paper?
Yes, sometimes, yes.
Sometimes.
Especially like for choir or something, four-part writing on
Ha.
board. Yeah.
I also found that when you're doing parts, especially, it's easier to see it all on one sheet as to the chordal progression and the movement rather than anywhere else. I mean, the sheet is just a perfect way to see all of it.
Correct.
So yeah, that would make lots more sense. So tell me, Jerry, you finish your college, you are now fooling around in Ooty with a Mac in your hand, and cut to you land up in Chennai. How did that
Yes.
happen?
So my mom sent me a clip. It was, I think, Rahman sir's birthday, 2008. He announced KM Music Conservatory.
Right,
And I was a big fan of Rahman sir. So I was like, okay, let me do this. But before that, I also researched about SAE, audio
right,
engineering.
right.
So when I came to KM to join in KM, they said it won't. So this was around February. They
Mm,
said KM won't start till August.
right.
So I had a lot of free time. So I decided I don't know anything about music technology while fooling around on GarageBand. So I don't. In the meantime, I learned that. So I enrolled in audio media for doing the Logic Pro
Oh, so
certification.
you came to Chennai, met the people at AR Studio, and they told you we're going to open in August. So you were already in
Yes.
Chennai.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
already.
okay, okay. So then you went to audio media,
Yeah.
Siva,
So
the Selvas.
so so then I
Okay,
did my Logic Pro certification there, which was only a 1 month course.
okay.
So after that 1 month, I was again free. So then I went to SAE, and luckily they had evening classes, 6 to 9.
All right,
So
okay.
I enrolled for the 18 months audio engineering program, diploma in audio engineering.
Hmm.
So when KM started, morning to evening was music, piano, and composition. 6 to midnight was SAE, audio engineering. Because SAE you could even take midnight bookings of the studio.
Jerry,
Well,
you are getting compliments like you are the cutest Jerry. I think there are people who are out to embarrass you right now. I think they are
yeah,
just after you.
yeah,
Okay, that's good. That's good. So basically, you took that time that you had instead of just sitting around. You said, "Let me just fill up myself with all the technology things that you can." So you have finished your logic course as well. And what else did you do? Audio media. You joined and did that.
yes. Then I did SAE audio engineering.
SI audio engineering. Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
SAE was evenings and nights. Mornings were KM. So that's how I managed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you joined KM as a student, like to learn what?
Piano and composition.
But you had already done that. You wanted to like what was this was an advanced course or something? How what why were
I
you doing
wanted
this
to
again?
I wanted to further it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
but were you also giving your Trinity exams at the same time while you were doing piano compositions?
Or no, I didn't.
You were
I
not
was
doing that.
no, no.
You didn't do that.
Yeah,
Okay. So you
I
were
didn't do
just continuing your growth in terms of piano and composition,
that. Yeah.
and with KM coming in, you were doing that. So that's how long the course was that?
So KM was a year and SAE was 18 months.
So you were doing both at the same time.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
you're saying.
both at the same time. Yes.
Okay. So courses finish. Now you are out in the field, out in the open field.
Yes. So while in KM, I think Rahman sir noticed me a couple of times, and
Hmm.
also during the Christmas holidays of KM, some of our students got to send demos to Rahman sir, and he
Okay.
picked three of us to do internship in Panchatan under
Mm.
PA Deepak.
Wow. All right. Okay. That's a good thing.
Yes, so this
So,
was around the Delhi 6 Slumdog time.
yeah. I remember that time. Yes,
Uh,
because there were various teams working in different studios. I mean, the Slumdog team was separate and they were closed in their room. The other team, Gajni and other stuff, guys were doing some other stuff in the other room. So yeah, I remember that time. Okay. So you then he asked you to join him as what? Like what was your role with the AR as an
so
intern?
my first job there was as a score writer. for Rashid Ali's album, Call Me Rashid.
Yeah, okay. I know, remember that was happening. Okay, so you were a score writer. So
Yes.
which meant what? Like, what were you supposed to do for them?
So all the program strings, I had to write the score for the
Okay,
live
notate it
session. I
for a
had to
live
notate
section.
it. Yes.
Oh, so you were listening and writing score. Is that what you were
Uh,
doing?
yes, yes.
Okay, so you did that for how long? Like, while you were there writing score sheets?
So the recording, so I got the session in the afternoon and the recording was the next day. So, yeah. So I sat up the whole night and finished writing the score. And I was super nervous because that's the first time I'm
This
transcribing
time.
and first time somebody's going to play. So
Okay.
I had to get the ranges right. And the tricky part that I realized that time was Logic's middle C and the middle
Uh-huh.
C that you call are different. Logic's middle C is C3, but the piano's middle C is C4.
C4. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So that's
that threw
when,
you
yeah,
off.
yeah, that threw me off.
So when did you realize that mistake?
Because the cello was going below range. So I was like,
Okay.
that's not possible because the last string you can't go below that.
Below
So
that,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, I was like, something is wrong.
But this you
Then,
realized while on the floor, while the recording is going on.
no, while I was writing.
Or while you're writing, you figured that
Yeah,
out. Okay, the
yeah,
range
yeah,
is not the same. Okay.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
God. Okay. So that happened. Okay, good. So
Yeah,
this recording went off smoothly. Everybody was happy when you did that.
yeah, thank God it went off smoothly. Yeah.
So what? Murthy sir was conducting. What was happening in that orchestra? Who was there?
No, Deepak was recording.
Okay.
Rashid Ali was there, and the players are from the KM faculty. So
Oh, okay. The KM
he,
faculty was playing. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it
Right.
was a quartet.
Oh, it was a quartet. Okay,
Yes.
good. So now work with AR starts. And so what happens? I mean, for an intern who has held AR Rahman as their idol to listen to music, and suddenly he's like 3 feet away from you. So what happens then?
I was super nervous in the beginning, but then as I got more interacting, he was like, "I won't bite you, don't worry."
He actually said that.
Yeah, he said that because he saw that I was getting nervous around him, so he's like, "I won't bite you, don't worry." So that kind of broke
Not
the
yet.
ice.
Not yet. I won't bite you,
Yeah,
not yet.
yeah. And the first few times I met him, he gave me this big smile and was always trying to be make me comfortable around him. So
Yeah.
that broke the ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was good. So then you shifted from being a score writer for him into music production at some point, I believe. And then you also got into teaching at KM.
Yes.
So how did which came first, the teaching or the music production with him?
So after this internship, I think he kind of forgot about me for some time. So that's yeah, for a year. So for that 1 year, I taught in KM music production. Yeah,
Okay, he forgot about you, right? Okay.
yeah.
So then
So
what were you
then
teaching at KM? What were you doing there?
logic. I was teaching logic and audio engineering.
And audio engineering.
Yes.
Okay, so all your skills of SAE are now coming to help you here to do
Yes.
the teaching and everything. So
Uh-huh.
you taught there for quite some time, about a year or two. How long did you
Just
teach there?
exactly for a year.
Till he remembered that you were around.
No, so I decided perhaps this is not the time for me. I was too young to teach. I was 22. So I was like, I should be learning at this age and not be teaching. Though teaching was
Okay.
also good learning. So I wanted to learn
Yes.
more. So in 1 year, I just gave up teaching. I told them I don't want to teach anymore. Then
Okay.
for 3-4 months, I was just doing my own projects. I got an American film that time, just a short film. So I was
Okay.
working on that. Then I was doing a couple of jingles. Then at a concert, he spotted me. He's like, at randomly at a concert that he was there. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I was like, "I came to see the concert." Then he's like, "Are you free? What are you doing this?" I said, "I was doing this." "Okay, can you come to the studio tonight?" I said, "Sure, sir." Then I came there. Then he was doing the Jai Ho concert all over India, all over the world. So
All
like,
the
so
US.
so I've got these footages from all over the world, and we've got the audio. I want you to do a 5.1 mix.
Like just like that,
Yeah,
get into
just
it,
like
dive
that.
into it, and just do a 5-on-1 mix.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And I've
So
never
you
done 5.1, only in project in SE, but really I've never done. So,
okay?
so he gave me the room downstairs, AM ground floor.
Ground floor, yes.
Yeah, so they set it up for me there, and I was there for 2 months, I think. So
Wow.
I was doing that for two
Okay.
months. Yeah.
So yeah, for people who work with AR, that's quite the way he is. That he just throws you into a situation and see whether you swim or sink. That's
Yeah.
his way of testing and finding out how much pressure you can take, or how can you work in a new environment. He actually doesn't care if you've got. He's not clouded by whether you've done this before or not. He's never takes that into account. He just says, are you willing to do it? So you
Correct.
just throw, you say, yeah, hey, do this. And there you go. I mean, here you have given an opportunity saying, hey, try this out and see if it works. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's very much like him to and ask you, ki, hey, what are you doing these days? Are you free? Do this. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So now you have mixed 5.1, and that's also happened. So, when does he call you in and say, okay, produce this track for me? So, which was your first track that he produced for him?
Rockstar BGM. So
Or
I
the
think it
BGM
was,
you worked on?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I think it was going in deadline and Suresh called. I was in AM yet, the ground floor.
Hmm.
Then Suresh, he's engineer in Panchatan.
Panchatan,
He's
yes.
like, hey, sir is calling you, come, come. So I just leave everything and go. He's like, so there's this scene. Can you do it? You have to go to Hyderabad, record the choir. So it is Nadan Parinde. We have to record the whole. They're shooting there in Ramoji Film City.
Right.
So I have to record the choir, get it back, and program over it. Yeah.
Okay. So again, one of those situations.
Yeah. So next day I go to Hyderabad, I record, come back, and then that was my first production.
But when did you move to do a song? Which was your first song music production with him?
Song wise, Ranjana, Banarasiya.
Ranjana.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the one you did with him.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
did you program? What did you work on that with him? Like the whole song you did produce basically?
No, the rhythm was there. I think rhythm was done by another programmer, Mark.
Okay.
So he wanted me to add the melodic elements on it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So that's what he made me do on that.
Right. So how does that happen? I mean, how does a brief from AR come to you in the sense? So obviously, I can understand there are some elements which are already there, and you just open his Logic session and you start working on that, or does he kind of give you some temp tracks that you kind of listen to and then follow? How does it happen with him?
I think there are three, four kinds of brief he gives. One is he will sing it out for you. He'll give you a voice note. He'll be singing like the string, that he'll be singing that, and he'll give it to you. That's one way. The other is he'll give you a temp. It can be like Coldplay. He'll give you a song reference, that
Okay.
kind. The other he'll be like surprise me, make it beautiful.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Surprise me. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So that also happened with you. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So did you surprise him at some point that he said, "Wow, what was that?" Like, did something like that happen?
Yeah, I think it was which project? Everest. He gave some piano themes and he asked me to orchestrate it. So it's like,
Okay.
wow. He just went like, wow.
All right.
That's
Now
it.
you're talking, Jerry. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's quite something coming from AR. When he says,
Yeah.
wow, that means he's really impressed with what you're doing and he really likes what you are doing on that. So, music production has also happened. And now, did you get to mix any songs for him?
Yeah. So I mixed the whole Coke Studio stuff for him.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So what happened was Nitish started, but for some reason Nitish had to go back to Bombay, and there
Okay.
was no engineer. So it's like, hey, you mix, no? I was like, I do mix, sir. I've learned mixing. Okay, come, let's sit on this. Yeah.
Okay. So, in all the spheres that you worked with him, you've experienced his total, he doesn't care about your past or your not having that experience done before. In all three realms, you have dealt with him on like he's forced you to jump into all the three, whether it's score writing, music production, engineering. He's made you do all that, like jump
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good. So great, Jerry, that you managed to be there with him and surprise him at the same time. He's happy with the work that you're doing. And in comes along the composer in you,
Yes.
and
Oh,
that starts to take off. So, what was there with the APJ Kalam thing and Kiran Bedi thing that happened?
So it's a friend's company. They run it. So they do something known as SLS, same language subtitling.
Oh,
So
okay.
so what they've realized is people get more literate if you have an audio and at the
Hmm.
same time you subtitle. So
Okay.
they pick up the language much
Much
faster.
faster. All right.
So this was done in that project. So they approached Abdul Kalam and Dr. Kiran Bedi to do this. So they
Okay.
agreed. So he said, "Are you up to doing the music?" I said, "Sure, I'll do the music."
Okay.
So that's all. But I did it with two other friends from KM. We had
Okay.
this
So you,
band together for a year.
what was it
So we
called?
did, uh, I forgot, acoustics. Yeah.
Acoustics. So three of you. So what did
Acoustics.
the
Yeah.
acoustic? So what did you play? You played the piano, and what did the two other guys play?
So one of them was managing the whole project. He was managing everything. And two of us split cues amongst ourselves. So one episode I would do, one episode he would do.
You would do
So
it. Okay, that's how you worked it out.
yeah.
All right. So now composing is taking on, and now you are getting offers to do film scores, TV serial scores, songs in films. How does that feel now? Now you're in a composer's seat. I mean, which is a totally different ball game than doing music production or engineering or 5.1. So now you are the actual composer. You are the creator. So
Yeah.
how did that feel like the change from doing music production to a composer?
Always, my first priority was to be a composer. So I was honing my skills working with Sir. So seeing how it works, how the process works. So that helps a lot because I think mostly composing is people management skills. How you, yeah, how you punish the people you're presenting the music, or how you handle rejection, because there's a lot of rejection. Like
Wow.
it's like one day they might like it, another day they might just like scrap it. So it's like what mental state they're in also. So how you take that. So that is what I
Mm.
have to deal with most. Yeah.
So what is your take on it? So how are you? Somebody said, no, I don't like this music piece. So what is your take on it? How do you handle it?
So in the beginning, I used to take it very personally. So I used to get very affected. I used to think perhaps I'm not good enough. Got a long way to go, which I yet do. I think sometimes. But right now, I think like perhaps they're looking at it in a different way
Okay.
that I am not seeing. Perhaps I need to see the way they are seeing.
Okay.
So then I try and just talk to them, try and understand what they're saying. So that's how I go
So
about
you
it.
feel basically having a conversation with your client kind of gets you to understand the space that they're coming from or something that they want, which is not clear in their earlier communication.
Yes, true.
So just
Yeah.
talking to them, it's not that you immediately go and start creating something new and present it to them. You actually have a conversation with them. You think that works much better?
It works much better, but sometimes situations are that you have to jump in right in. You can't have a conversation.
Okay.
So that is a hit and miss sometimes.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
Farhad would say 50-50. So you
Yeah.
could be hitting it or you could not be getting it right.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you don't get it right again, then you go back to the drawing board and start on another piece of music. Is that what you
Yes.
do then?
Yeah.
Till the client
I
is
ask them.
happy.
Yeah. I ask them what is it that I'm missing when I miss. What is it that
Okay.
is? What is it that's not happening for them? So then
Okay.
they sometimes elaborate.
Somebody's asked that question. What all topics you cover and want to understand while getting the brief? Like what is it that you need to them for them to tell you that you can get a good brief? What would that be? What do they need to tell you?
So I ask them generally what palette of sound they want, because sometimes some people have like they don't want any electronic sounds in the piece.
Okay. Like
So I
that.
try
Okay.
and gauge that what they
All
want.
right.
Do they want
All right.
what phase they want to go in?
Okay.
And some a scene might be sad, but they don't want to go in that phase. They sometimes want to go like an understatement. They don't want to go full blown out sadness.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, things like that.
Okay. So you're
But
just
I
trying
try
to
and
understand
understand.
their
Yes,
mood of
yes,
that scene or
yes.
whatever is required. You try and understand that. Okay. So that helps you in getting the music that they are looking for. So what is your source of inspiration, Jerry? I mean, when you have to compose, uh, what happens? I mean, all composers, of course, and all artists, you are composing, as people would say, out of thin air, so to speak. So where do you delve into? Where do you go to get that inspiration so that you can come up with something which the client wants? What do you do?
When it comes, I find scoring slightly easier because you have got a visual thing to inspire you. You have the
So
visual
scoring, you mean scoring to a picture, like
picture.
the
Yeah,
video, like scoring to
yeah.
that. Okay. So the
So
video is
that
leading the way and you are just kind of following that emotion and doing it.
correct,
So you think
correct,
that's
correct.
easier. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I try and absorb the setting, the location, the lighting, the mood, the time of the day they're shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So that might inspire me to like come up with what music they're wanting. In terms
Yeah.
of song, I try and understand what situation it is. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
reading a storybook. When you read a storybook, you imagine the story in your head.
Right.
So I try and see that situation like a story in my head. I try and
Okay.
visualize that story,
Mm-hmm.
and then I see what song fits in there, and then that's how I try
So
and
for
come
you,
up.
what comes first? The melody comes first immediately, or sometimes the chordal structure or the harmonic structure comes first?
Different does different things.
Different things.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes the group, I'm not getting the melody at all, so I lay
Right.
down a rhythm pattern, and then everything falls in place. Yeah,
Right. Okay. So like a groove thing kind of gets you going as to what
yeah,
is you need to
yeah.
do on top. Okay. So that's good. So what happens with you? Like since you also do programming, you also do live scoring. So in your music that you are composing or you are trying to maybe produce for other clients, do you end up doing a lot of programming work or do you kind of go towards doing scoring, live instrumentation, not just scoring in terms of string or orchestra, but live instruments, or are you more on the programming side?
Um, so it depends on the budget. Sometimes the projects I do don't have enough budget to call too many musicians.
Okay.
So I take it as a challenge to make the programming sound as real as possible.
All right. Okay.
So
Yeah. A lot of people do that. Yeah.
yeah, so I mostly, so 80% is program. Perhaps
Mhm.
20% I might call a flautist or a singer
Mhm.
to sing the to add little more human feel to it.
Right. Yes. A lot of composers do that. I mean, all the way from Hans Zimmer down to everybody kind of, they do a lot of programming work and then they kind of combine it with some live solo playing, particularly, so that, it kind of blends in a lot more. I remember with Vishal when I was working, also, we used to do that, do a lot of programming work.
Yeah,
And whether it was a sarangi or a flute or a guitar solo or a sitar solo, that would be put in live, and that changed the whole feel of the music, and just kind
right.
of was very
Takes it to
interesting
another
to look
level.
at. Yeah, yeah, it just the kicks in that. Yeah, so the personality of the musician playing also starts to come through, and I think that's also very important. So yeah, somebody's asking a question which I had written down earlier as well. While programming for Rahman sir, as the end product needs to bear the stamp of A.R. Rahman's style of music, how do you balance this and your creativity to avoid deviating from his sound? Like,
Um, so he is involved from the beginning to the end. So he checks
yes,
at every point. Like he'll be like, so if you've done some programming and you get working, he'll be like, okay, put it, let's hear. And then anything that is irritating to him or he doesn't like, he'll be like, just delete. Not even mute,
delete,
just delete. Yeah,
delete, throw it away.
yeah. So I think that's how he retains. And the mix, you're not mixing by yourself. You might start mixing it, but the finalizing is sitting right beside you and he's telling you what to do. So,
Right.
uh,
So that happens. Okay.
yeah.
Cool. I hope that answers us. Gear in India says, do you go out to a hill station to get inspired with your portable setup?
No, I have not done that so far.
He's not done that as yet.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point he will, when he has his own small, nice house in Ooty or somewhere in the hill station, he will go. Or or on the Mahabalipuram side, on the beach house.
I go back to my hometown, Pondi. My parents had lived there.
Okay.
So sometimes I might just be working out of there.
So what?
Yeah.
It's like you feel it's less distract. I mean, Chennai is far more distracting than Pondicherry for you, so that you go there, you feel it's like less distracting, or what happens?
Uh, Mostly I'm at home only, both places. So
Okay,
not, there I just go to just spend time with my parents. And
okay.
so my parents live in Auroville. It's quite beautiful.
Hmm. Oh, it's
So
a lovely
sometimes,
place. Yeah.
so just to take a break, I might just go to one of these coffee shops and just sit there. Yeah. So
Or the
that
bread
way.
shop. They also have a lovely bread shop. Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful that
yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been there. So yeah, it's a beautiful place, no doubt about it. So yeah, so that's your running away from
yeah,
Chennai. That's what
yeah,
you do.
yeah.
Cool. So tell us about these two projects, which or that particular project which got you nominated for the Oscars in 2018, Jerry.
It's shortlisted for nomination.
Shortlisted for Oscars. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty big as well. So what was that?
So this was through Raman sir's ensemble called Kutube Kripa. So
Hmm.
it's an ensemble of KM alumni,
Okay.
composers from KM alumni. So there was this director. It was an American film, and
Hmm.
he wanted sir to do the music.
Yes,
And
sir.
I
So
said,
what happened? So he didn't have the time. He asked you to do it.
yeah. So three of us did it from KM. So the director, so we finished the project and it was done. So the director just casually said, "Why don't we submit the score for Oscars?" We were all laughing at that point. No way, nothing will happen. So then he was just adamant about it. Have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done it? So just for him, we submitted, and then we forgot about it. I think by December first week you have to submit usually,
Right.
and I think by December end the shortlist comes. So then Raman sir tweeted congrats to all these people. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is what happened. Yeah.
So, so you are mainly working in Logic right now for all your programming and production work.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're working in that. So some people had asked, so like, what's your favorite Logic soft synth or instrument? Like, do you have any particular favorite one in that?
I love the ES2 in Logic.
The ES. Whoa. Okay, you're one of the rare birds who actually likes the ES2. Very few people use it, and very few people talk about it. You know, that's
Right,
very because everybody talks about their sample library EX24 or
right.
their other stuff, but ES2. Wow. Okay.
I
Why do
love.
you like that so
Especially,
much?
I like the growl it has the body, especially on the bass. I just love it.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Yeah,
you love that part.
yeah.
So there's another question. How do you balance out the workflow between composing, scoring a song, and sound designing its elements?
So right from the beginning itself, I try and balance it out. So I think I try and I get the sound effects and make sure that I get the dialogue, and both are on when I'm
Scoring
working.
and
So
working.
yeah,
Yeah.
when I'm
Okay.
scoring, so that they're not
Mhm.
fighting with each other. So from the beginning, I'm trying to uh, get both to work with each other. Sometimes I even add the musical sound design, sound effects, so that it goes with the scene or with the sound effects. It enhances the scene. So
Okay. So what you are also doing is you are scoring and creating music, keeping in mind the dialogue and sound effects. So would that also mean that you are also being very careful about the instruments or the sounds and the frequency range that you choose?
yes, yes. So
You,
especially
yeah.
when the dialogue round use something like a very high violence going with it, or a very busy line going with it, because that would disturb the dialogue. So something
Right.
like that I won't do.
So good. So you're taking care of it right at the composing and the arrangement stage itself, rather than the mix or
Right,
the mixing
right.
guy handling it. So
Yeah.
you're doing
Because
that. So
what I
yeah.
feel that happens is they end up slowing the music very much.
Hmm.
So the impact of the music goes away from the scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. That happens. Sometimes somebody's asking, there are no visuals. So how do you approach that? Like, do you? But I think when there are no visuals, mostly clients are only asking you to do thematic work. When there are no
Right,
visuals, obviously you can't do a score to picture. So
right.
at that, when there are no visuals, people are just asking you to create themes. Like it could be a sad theme or a romantic theme or whatever.
Right.
And then I guess it's okay to do without picture. Then you are just creating a theme. Tulsatya is asking, given a choice, what would you love to do most from all the expertise that you have in terms of engineering, music production, composing, scoring? What would you love to do actually?
So it depends. If I've composed a lot during some time, then I feel like okay, I want to perhaps get into the other thing that I want to do. So it varies. Different days, different things. Yeah,
But you want to continue doing all of it. You don't want to just concentrate on one. You want to do all the three, four things that you're doing, right?
yeah, yeah.
That you enjoy having the
I enjoy.
variety.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Smith also had a question by while do you mix while producing, or do you do it later? And I'm sure he's asking vis-a-vis your music that you compose, because with AR we know there is no thing as mixing on your own or producing. I mean, he's there
Right.
all the time, in and out. So
Right.
it's an evolving process with him, is what I call it. So what do you do with your work when you're doing your when you're composing? See, you are the composer, you're the music producer, and so to speak, you are the sound engineer when you're doing your work.
Yes.
So I think they want to know is, so are you actually mixing as you're going along, or will you do it
Um,
later?
so I don't mix in depth, but I do a rough mix. Like I try and get it to sound um, decent, not perhaps great,
Okay.
but decent. That perhaps if I just take a bounce by then, the director or whoever I'm sending it to says okay, they can judge it. It doesn't sound
Okay.
like unbalanced or not real.
But that is more to do with that because you want to play it for the client to get an approval, or that is just out of your own thing, that so you know what to layer when you're hearing a decent mix. What is the reason why would you do that?
It's both, so that I don't have to like spend time later on again, because it by the end you get have 50 tracks, so again
Mm.
go through all the 50 tracks and balance it. So then itself you can finish it. That's one reason, and the other also gives you an idea, like you said, how much to layer, how much is enough, how much
Yeah.
more I should do. So sometimes just one violin patch might not do the trick. You might have to add one more to make it sound a little more decent, or to
True.
mask the mask so that it sounds a little more real.
Right. Your friend Arpita Gandhi is here. I think she's
Hi,
giving you a thumbs up. So I do agree with you on that. That while you are programming, while you are adding instruments, layers, it's important to get a little sense of balance of where you are. Otherwise, you just end up duplicating and doubling up parts because you can't hear the previous one, and you feel there is something lacking. But because the balance is not there, that happens. Okay, here's of plugins that you can take care of while producing. Okay, what was that? Sound is way above the any specific set of analog gear or plugins that you take care of while producing and scoring. So I think obviously there are some techie guys here who want to know all the technical details of how you work. So they want to know, do you have any analog gear that you really like using while you're working, or any plugin particular one that you really can't do without? You really need to have it in there.
so I quite like the Logic inbuilt plugins. I find them very decent,
Mm-hmm.
especially the compressors. But for EQ, I use stuff like Fab Filter.
Mm-hmm.
Then I use a bit of Waves and also Plugin Alliance. I love
Plugin around.
Plugin Alliance. I love their
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, so I don't.
I'm just pointing this out for Dirk Ulrich, the owner of Plugin Alliance. I hope you're hearing this, Dirk. That's an endorsement.
Yeah. So I just use the plugins I like. I don't try and install all the plugins. So because it becomes too messy then. So I just
Okay.
use few. So Fab Filter, Logic, Waves, and Plugin Alarm mainly, and
Those are the
Isotope
main
every
three.
now and then. Yeah.
Isotope every now and then. So PA Deepak is going to be happy you're using Isotope. Okay. So there is this earlier student who was there called Sidhu. She's in US right now. So she said, I'm going to sleep because the timing are different, but please ask Jerry's the two questions. So she asked me to write it down for you. So suppose AR gives you a mix to do. So do you mix from there on, or do you actually dismantle it all and start from scratch? Suppose he tells you, okay, this is a session, mix it for me. So she wanted to know, how does that work for you?
So with AR sir, how it works is he also kind of gets the sound he wants in Logic when he's working.
Right.
So and we send it for shooting most often. So we call it the shoot mix,
Shoot mix,
and
right?
always he says use that as the reference. The energy from the
Okay.
shoot mix is what he likes.
Mm.
So the final mix happens in Pro Tools. So always we cross check with the Logic shoot mix that we do.
Mm-hmm.
It should only be better than that. Sometimes what happens is in the process of toying around, you perhaps bring it worse than the shoot mix. And then
Or you
he'll be
go
like,
somewhere else.
yeah, you go somewhere else. And then he'll be like, play the Logic mix. And he'll be like, no, this is not what we are going in. So then we have to start all over again. And also sometimes what happens, we've mixed everything in Pro Tools, and then he'll hear it, and then he'll be like, okay, let's start mixing. And then he'll be like, I just made the mix. Yeah.
Yeah. Has it ever happened with you? It's happened to me a few times with him when we have finished the mix, or so called, when the mix is ready, and he also feels, yeah, it's cooking, it's there, and and then suddenly he'll say, just wait, I think it just needs something. And then he'll either layer just some piano line, or just one drum roll, or just one single thing which he feels is missing. And you have finished the mix, like in the sense it's ready to be printed on 2 track, and then he'll say, it's missing something. Does that happen to you a lot as well?
Yes, it's happened quite a few times. So he'll be like, something is missing. Then he'll be like, okay, recording Pro Tools, he'll sit in Logic, and he'll play live on cue, and you have to print.
Right.
And be like,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can give you an example of the song for everybody who's listening. It is Kabhi Kabhi Aditi, that song which Rashid sang and played guitar on. I remember we had finished the mix in the AM room on the Neve, and we were ready to like stem it and print it and just, finish it off. And he comes in and says, I like the mix. I like where it's going. Can you... something is missing. So I knew immediately something is going to be added. So I said, AR, I am ready to print on 2 track. Like we are in mix mode. No. Just give me a piano sound and just record. So whatever you have, just give me 2 tracks, one stereo track, and press record. I don't even want to hear anything. So I said, okay. He found a Logic way. He found a piano sound and says, you getting signal? I said, okay. He says, take. And if people go back and hear that song, every time that song plays and he's singing, there are a few piano embellishes, electric piano embellishes, arpeggiated embellishes, which he did just on the fly from point zero to point end and said, print it. That's it. He just said, print it. And the balance was there. He heard it. He's hearing a stereo mix and he's like playing with the balance, how it should sound in a stereo. So I don't have to rebalance it again. So he just says, this is it, now print it. So yeah, I mean, I have been witness to that a few times, the magic that he creates and that last dying seconds of the song going out, he just springs and sprinkles that magical dust over that song. Oh yeah, he does that a lot of times, and it's so amazing to watch that happen. For me, it is in the most beautiful moment to watch that magic happen. And you are saying, well, the song is complete. Yeah, what else could it want? And then he comes and does this. And you go, whoa, where did that come from? So yeah, I can relate to that. And I'm sure a lot of people will get a little idea of the way he works. He's thinking somewhere else into another stratosphere zone or somewhere, he's trying to get his ideas from. So, yeah, it's happened with you as well. So glad to know that I'm not the only one seeing that side of him. Everybody else get to see. There's another question where she said, okay, she asked a very interesting question about, since you travel a lot, how do you adjust your ear balances to different places, traveling, air pressures changing? And she had a very interesting question, and we all do travel a lot, when we're going out for concerts, we're going out to dub stuff, you're going to the USA, to his place in LA. So how do you kind of reorient yourself to the new environments that you travel to and work with?
So in my initial stages, it used to throw me off a lot because I have a very sensitive ear, and my ear pops when I travel by flight. And I remember going to the Powai studio and I had to work on a song. It wasn't mixing, but I had to do a rough shoot mix at that point.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do because I couldn't hear a lot of frequencies. So I was like a little nervous. So then Suresh came and told me this. Hey, why don't you use referencing? Listen to a song that you've heard many times. You know how it sounded. Now you know how it will sound. So go off that. So from that day on, I carry WAV files or flash files in my disk of songs that I'm familiar with.
And just on an offhand thing, just name 1 or 2 songs that you carry with you. What would they be? Which ones?
Imagine Dragons, Radioactive.
Radioactive Imagine Dragons. Okay. What else?
Then
What do you like about
Smooth.
that song that you really think, is a good reference? What is about that song?
I think the low end is really tight and kicking in that. And
Okay.
I also like how the voice is balanced to the whole song.
All right. Okay. That's a good song to
So
watch
I
out
like,
for.
yeah. Then
Any
I
other
like
song?
the MJ's Smooth Criminal.
You don't like Beat It
I like
or
Beat
Billie
It,
Jean?
but I like Beat It, but I'm more familiar with Smooth Criminal, so I carry that along with.
Oh man, this is going to disappoint you. The whole team is a huge Billie Jean and Beat It
I
fan,
know,
including
I
TA
know,
people. Every
I know.
everything is reference to that in Panchatan, and you are saying Smooth Criminal. My God, that's a departure. So you like that song for
Yeah.
your reference a lot.
Then
Okay, Smooth
Coldplay
Criminal.
Ghost Stories, the whole album, I love it.
Hmm. Okay.
It's the more recent stuff. Then orchestral, I carry Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow.
Like,
Right.
I really love it. So it's different from the Hans Zimmer kind of mix. I feel it's more organic because it doesn't have a lot of hybrid stuff in it.
Who had mixed Lord of the Rings music for him? Not Alan. Alan may have
No,
somebody else.
it's somebody else. I think it's Simon Rhodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Simon Rhodes. Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So
cool. So how was
he
it
came.
meet? Huh? Sorry, who came?
Simon Rhodes
Simon?
had come a few years back to work with us
Right, I
as
know.
well.
Yeah, he had come to.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
he had come there. He's quite an interesting character
uh,
himself. How was it meeting with Alan Mayerson and recording the Babelsberg Orchestra? You were there at Kodiche and the one we did at in Bombay at Yashraj.
correct. Yeah.
So how was that meeting the orchestra, meeting Alan and everybody? How was that for you?
So I think Sir knew I was very inclined towards orchestral programming, mixing, film
Oh,
scoring.
somebody just pointed out it was Jeff Foster, Air Lindus guy. He mixed it. He's saying.
Oh, okay.
Jeff had mixed it. How he is
Yeah,
another crazy character who
yeah,
records
yeah,
everything in 5.1
yeah.
and dealt and with a Decca tree. My God, even a flute line is in 5.1. My God, his file sizes you have to see. Oof. Yep.
he brings
Sorry,
his
you were
own.
saying something.
He brings his own tools and he repairs everything and goes back.
Yeah, he's quite a maverick. This guy Jeff Foster
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
That's right.
So
So, what
I
was the
think
experience working with him in LA and other places, Jerry? When you traveled with AR, you got to work with a lot of people there, the orchestras, the musicians. What is the difference you felt between working here in India and working there with those musicians? Anything which caught your eye?
so working with musicians from the West, you have to do a lot of preparation, is what I've realized.
Why?
Because
Why is that?
without a score, they won't do anything. Everything has to be written in the score. Even the dynamic markings, everything is written. And
So this is not just orchestra. These are even like a guitar player or a clarinet player. They'll all want
yeah,
notation, right?
yeah,
Okay.
quite a few of the, most of them want notation. And it's very like cut to cut. It's like time. They'll come in exactly at this time and they'll finish exactly at that time. And so because it's like that, you have to do a lot of beforehand work, make sure
Introduction book, yeah.
everything is working fine when they come in because
Mm.
they're also more expensive. So if you go overtime, they will like charge you more. And the Indian musicians end up becoming more your friends. So it's like if it is 45 minutes more, it's like come just let's have tea and just let's finish this.
Let's add
So
some coffee and some Murugan idli and everything will be fine.
yeah. So I feel it's less pressure working with Indian musicians, and I feel Indian musicians are great ears. So you can just play, at least the ones we have worked with, you can just play to them. Not that the Western musicians don't have great ears, but they prefer having it in paper. These people, you just play to them like Kamalakar sir, for example, flute. He'll just be like play and then he'll be like, okay. He'll practice once and then take. That's it. So that way, yeah.
Mm. No, of course, I mean, you are really lucky that you are working in a place which has the cream of musicians who comes and plays for AR, whether it's here or in the West. I mean, both places he has anybody on his beck and call, and he can just call them and they come and play for him. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that changes the game a lot when you are working with such talented cream of the top kind of people all the time. I find that you yourself have to up your game because you're
Correct.
working with those kind of people. You can't just be lax about it and say, okay, come play something. They are really on top of the game. I mean, that's the whole point. And then you have to be one step ahead of them in terms of what you want them to play and all. So I found that working in that environment, it challenged me to push myself a lot more. I don't
Correct.
know about you. Did you feel that as well? And
Yes. So the Yashraj, the Babelsberg thing. So Matt was conducting and he was writing the score. He was orchestrating. So I remember the next day we had recording. This is the first day, and he had written, and Sir came and made some changes in the night. So Matt
okay,
sat the whole night, and I was tasked with score preparation. So so throughout the night, so there was no printer. I had to get in the middle of the night, call up Adi. I need a printer because next day at 10 o'clock is the recording.
recording.
So I need to get
That's
all
right.
the scores by then. So the whole night, me and Mahesh, the boy who works in Powai, he helped me. He
Right.
was helping me tape everything, and
Okay.
I was checking everything was proper, and we got it ready. So that I realized, like when you're working with such high caliber people, you have to also like live up to it because you're getting the
Yeah.
chance to work with such people. So
Right. Right. It forces for the cream to rise. I mean, you rise on top. So yeah, you just ride along with them and you enjoy that ride. So beautiful it is. No doubt about it. And you see the magic happen right in front of your eyes. I think that's the beauty and the joy of being in this profession is
yeah.
watching that happen. I feel every time I watch that and hear that, it's quite amazing. So,
Right.
Jerry, now you've worked with AR, you've got shortlisted for an Oscar, you've been a composer, you've mixed stuff, you've arranged stuff. What now?
So I want to be more consistent with my work. So what
Okay.
happens is sometimes like I do good work, sometimes it's average. So that average I want to get rid of and make it good more often. Yeah.
So
And
average
also,
according to you, that's what you're saying. The average according to you, the client might love it. Client might think it's great, but you
yeah.
think it is average, so that's why you want to improve on that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that and or sometimes I would have finished it and when I go back listen to it and then be like, wow, oh, I could have done better. What did I just do? So things like that. And also the other thing is so consistency is one,
Okay.
and all so on the internet, especially YouTube, there are so many people doing some crazy things. So for us, get to also that standard for us. Like John Powell, he's one of my favorite
Hmm.
composers. He puts Logic screencast, and I'd be like, wow, perhaps the complexity of what he does so easily, that should
Okay.
become second nature soon. Perhaps that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But you are still young, Jerry. I mean, there is so much room, there is so much scope to learn, to grow. I mean, yeah, there is so much ahead of you that I think that as by and by you'll be able to grasp those things and put them to use and execute them like that. So I don't think that should be a huge issue at all with you for where it's going. So it's good to know that you are still learning, wanting to learn, wanting to improve, despite the huge body of work that you're straddling across all the three different kind of work processes that is happening. So what else is there? Somebody had asked something about your working process. Have you recorded a symphony for AR? How was your experience?
Yes,
Well,
we
his first
recorded.
job was he had to write a score and record a symphony.
Yeah, yeah. That was
He was thrown to
yeah,
the lions in the first go, guys. So
yeah,
and he survived. So he's
yeah.
a survivor. What you're looking at is a survivor, and he's come out on top. He's sitting here smiling. So obviously he did well. That's what I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's how I think Sir chooses his team. It's like the test of fire. I think he'll put you in something that you God alone knows what it is, and then you have to do it.
You have to deliver.
Yeah, you have to deliver. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's his way of testing you out. I think he does it very, very smartly. I mean, it's
yeah,
not that he's going to sit there and ask you, like, what do you know and do you know this or that?
right.
He'll just throw you in somewhere and say, tell me. come on, do this and show me. Like,
Yeah.
So I remember sometimes there was somebody sitting outside and we were working, and then he went out for coffee or something, and they met him, and this guy said, "Now, my daughter is a singer and we've come here to meet you." And he said, "Oh yeah, she's a singer. Okay, go inside." Like right there, go inside the studio now. And this girl almost like I'm seeing, she's like, "What now?" He said, "Yeah, you're a singer, so come inside." And he went there, he said, "Okay, play me this song and listen to this tune." This was a song somebody else had sung and we are mixing. And he tells her, it was a Tamil song, I don't remember which one. And he said, "Okay, now you learn the tune and you sing it for me." Right there.
Yeah.
I mean, this girl was so nervous, poor thing. I don't think she was even expecting that something like this would happen. They would just meet him
Yeah.
and go off and he'd call again. But he's like that. He's like, "Yeah, go sing, show me what you can do."
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be prepared. I mean, I think that's a lesson you learn working with him, that you can't have your guard down with him. You have to constantly be on it with him. He can just ask you to say, "Do this right now," and tell me, show me what you can do. So, yep. I have a few questions. I'm just trying to see anything that we missed because we just have 2 minutes left. It was great talking to you. How do you maintain depth and space in your tracks while producing?
Um. Depth and space. So that is perhaps I play around with. So I don't use one reverb. I use three reverbs: short, medium,
Okay.
and long. So I vary with that. So that gives me depth. And space, I use imaging a bit. Like I perhaps use the Vienna Mids plugin for orchestral spacing. That
Okay.
could help. And also, I use a lot of pan and all that for space. I make sure I use my 180 degrees when I'm doing stereo
Okay.
space, and I'm just not limited to like the front space. Yeah,
Okay, just the front face. Okay, so
yeah,
you're mixing in an immersive spaces all the time. Is
yeah,
what
yeah,
you are thinking like that all the time. That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, oh, that's good space. And immersive is back like a vengeance with a vengeance right now. Everybody wants to do immersive work. So I think you are in the right space already when you're already thinking in your head in an immersive space. So that's a good space to be. So Jerry, we are on a countdown of 1 minute 30 seconds. And before it shuts off, I just want to say thank you so much for being
Thank you,
here
sir, for
for
having me
everybody.
here.
No, no, it's my pleasure so that people get to hear insights and get to meet you, get to know you. And we look forward to hearing your work.
Thank you.
And that should be hopefully instead of a short list, you kind of make it to the Oscar nominations and actually win it one day for all of us.
Thank you.
And we'll be here rooting for you.